I gotta record this dream, y'all. I hadn't done this in a long time. Uh, record my dream, but this dream seemed poignantly uh, message ridden. So start out by saying, "Please be quiet over there." Okay, my dogs. Okay, get over there and be quiet, please. Be quiet. Okay. So it's March the 5th. It's March the 5th, 2023, 2024. It's March the 25th. No, it's March. It'll be in the description. It's March the 5th, 2024. Okay. So, and it's uh, like around right around 1 o'clock p.m. It's a Tuesday. So, in the dream, I was this kind of like lone character, almost kind of like the mechanic, you know, kind of like I lived in a loft apartment, had all my stuff in it, and I had this job at some type of messenger service, right? Well, so get out of there, get out of there. I had this job at this messenger service, so something happened. I woke up in a parking lot naked, only with my underwear on, and I was gonna be late to work, and I went out to where my motorcycle was, and somebody had stolen my motorcycle. So I had no way to get to the job. So, and then I didn't have any funds to like get an Uber or a taxi or something like that to my work. So I just ended up, I walked to my work. So when I walked there, still the whole time I only had on my briefs, brief underwear, like I only had on my underwear. So I get to my job, and my boss is younger than me, like a real young guy, like about 30. And he's like, why are you late and why are you only wearing your underwear? And like anyway, there's a short conversation ensued where he was acting really cocky, you know. So basically, he fired me. You know, I said, "You fired me for this?" And he was like, "Basically, yes." And I was like, first of all, F you and your attitude. And secondly, I was like, you will be hearing from my lawyer. And I do have one. And I did just like that, look direct. I was like, and I do have one. Right. Like, like, I'm walking through the neighborhood. I kind of get lost, right? And it's night. And then I look up and I was like, oh man, that's Steve Cooper's house. Steve Cooper was like an owner of more than one club that I used to work with in Memphis. It's like, that's Steve Cooper's house. It was all cool looking. It was real, like, you know, minimalist architecture and like landscaping all around it and everything. And like, I was like, that's Steve Cooper's house. So I was like, I can't go around there, like, because I'm ashamed because I've only got my underwear on and I don't have a job. So like, so I realized I didn't have any money on me. Couldn't, I couldn't even buy cigarettes or food. So I like walked away from there. But somebody had seen me. Somebody had been out on the balcony, like, and it's like, that's Kendall, you know. So like, this car comes and like chase me, and they're like, "Are you Kendall Johnson?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they were like, "The Kendall Johnson?" And I was like, "Yeah." They were like, "Come with us." So like, I get in the car with them, still just with my underwear on, and come to find out that wasn't just his house. That was just like club complex with all these little clubs. Like there were little bitty intimate clubs that almost looked like formal dining rooms, but instead of a dining room table, there was like a little small stage, you know. And then there were big, huge, you know, auditorium, huge venue clubs, you know, with all the lights and everything you would think, you know, typical, you know, quintessential strip club. There's all these clubs, and like they're like, there was some little small woman. She was like, "We want you to audition. So we need to hear your voice, and we're going to give you a job." It's like, really? So like, I did a little short audition, and I was really surprised at my voice. I sounded like an older man. I was like, "Gentlemen coming to the stage right now," like, and man, they were like eating it up. They were like wolves, like salivate. They loved it. I'm like, "We got Kendall back." So like, some reason they told me, it's like, "We'll call you in a few days." I'm like, "Shit, have any money even for cigarettes or food?" Go back to my house, still just with my underwear on, and like, I got back to my house. I was just sitting there with no cigarettes or food, and I realized, like, I don't have any cigarettes. I don't have any food. Really, all I have is my freedom. I can't do anything crazy, like, to lose my freedom. I have my freedom, and I'm fixing to start this job. Well, anyway, like, they called me, and I didn't get the job. And I was like, damn it, like. So there was a small door of the club that actually opened to this like hot tub area. They would have hot tub parties. So I was like, So what I did was, somehow I picked up with my bare hands the engine of a motorcycle, which that was weird because the engine of a motorcycle weighs like at least 100, if not 200 or 300 pounds. I like picked it up and opened that door and like threw it in the hot tub, like kind of like vandalism. Like, I'll show you, and I give me a job. I'll just throw this motorcycle like into the hot tub. So I threw it in there. Well, like, couldn't find out. I mean, there wasn't any security cameras or anything, but there had been this little small, like, young, almost like teenager like employee that thought he had seen me do it, right? So like, couldn't find out. There's just like that I get called back. They call me, it's like, "We want you to come back." So I come back and they sit me down, and it's just like inquisition, like, with the lamp hanging from the ceiling with the light bulb, and they're like, "We were told that you threw this motorcycle engine into the hot tub," and but none of it was like voices vocal like that. What it was is like, there was a guy that supposedly saw me. The motorcycle engine was sitting there, and then there was like this old car that they had promised him if he testified against me. And what the old car was like a 1981 Ford Limited, like an old boat, an old tank car. And it had patina all over the paint job, like it was real old. But you could tell by the tires that somebody had kept the engine up, and it ran really well. That was a car he had picked out and told them that he wanted, like if he came and testified against me, right? So I see those three things. I see him, and I see the motorcycle engine, and I see that old car. And I just start laughing hysterically. I was like, if y'all think that y'all are gonna somehow indict me on these three things, y'all got another thing coming. I just like got up and left the room, and that was the end of the drink, right? So, so many components to like analyze. Like, first of all, me being this like lone character, like the mechanic. That's kind of like I am. Like, it's kind of like represents my personality. I've kind of a loner. I've kind of become a loner over the years, right? I'm gonna light a cigarette real quick. So like, then, like, losing my job, telling the guy, "I've got a lawyer. I mean, you're going to be hearing from my lawyer," and I do have one. Like that's kind of like, since Mama died, my finances. I've kind of like lost my job. Mama was taking real good care of me, and I've kind of lost that financially, right? but then like telling them that I've got a lawyer, that I do have a lawyer, that's wondering like, do I need to get a lawyer to deal with Kristen and the estate? Like, would it be, should I just go in, like, just, do what Kristen says or whatever, or take what Kristen gives me, you know, or should I get a lawyer to make sure I'm getting my fair share? That's been a thought that I've had. And it's coming out in the dream in a way is like telling myself, you need to get a lawyer. Right. So there's that. So then, like, being all down on my luck, no cigarettes, no money. The only thing I have is my freedom. That's kind of message to myself, like all this other stuff you have, like Black Rifle Coffee, and gas money, and all that is like all secondary to your freedom. So it's kind of like my mind telling me, don't do anything to mess up your freedom, right? So then, accidentally walking by, I don't think the club part represents getting a job in strip clubs. I think that it represents like motorcycles, right? Like somehow motorcycles is something that I do that's interesting. Let's just leave it at that. It's like it's something that I do that's interesting in the same way that working in strip clubs was interesting. Like motorcycles has become something I do that's interesting, right? So like at the end, it's like that was somebody was wanting to take my freedom from me, and the way they were doing it was with the motorcycle, the guy and the motorcycle motor, and the old car. In a way, that's like a message, like driving cars versus motorcycles. Like, cars that, like that old limited car could absolutely run and operate as a car, right? But it wasn't much of anything cool to look at or think about owning, whereas motorcycles are, So in a way, kind of like that end part was kind of like my mind telling me, like, if you ever have a choice between, like in the dream, it was a motorcycle engine or my freedom. Like, it's like if you ever have a choice between motorcycles and cars, choose motorcycles. It's a really interesting dream. I hadn't had a dream and then done the analysis like I'm doing with the video, like in a long time. I don't know. Maybe this is a start of a resurfacing of that or revival of that, or I don't know. But I just wanted to record this one today because it seemed particularly poignant and meaningful. So anyway, I don't know what I'm gonna do with this channel, what's gonna happen to it. So, but either way, like or subscribe so you'll know when I know. Thanks for watching.